All right, so I finally got everything up, I think, for streaming, all's well. So if I can just get these silly screen controls to go away, that would be awesome. There we go. Oh. There we go. Okay, cool. So, first of all, thanks everybody for being here. Most especially thanks to Vivint for providing us the space and the pizza. And next most especially, thanks to Kyle for coming to present. And we're going to learn something about AI, right?
Yes, hopefully.
Oh, I guess I hadn't considered the null hypothesis. We might not learn.
Everybody's going to learn about you tonight.
Yeah, and Mother Russia.
Well,
AI
you-
learn you.
You are streaming this to Twitch, right?
Yeah, this is on Twitch.
So yeah, AI is going to learn about you tonight.
That's great. Okay. All right. Well, with that, without further ado, I'll go ahead and hand it over to you.
Okay. Yeah. Before we get started, just a few disclaimers about AI that you guys all probably already know. There's AI doesn't see the complete picture, and don't rely on it for everything you do. Just don't say, build me a React app to do this. Probably won't do that good of a job. And then when we get to it, we might do some debugging to figure out how to get an action working in GitHub. But till then, we're going to learn about different AI tools. So there's a few different ones. Where is one else? That I'm going to highlight that I've kind of looked into. Tab 9,
Ooh, I like it.
CodePilot, Codium, Bard, ChatGPT, and then ChatGPT, someone made a code review bot built into GitHub that you could hook up to your repo and it would give you code tips. No, using ChatGPT. Yeah, so just basics of each. Tab 9 is used for real-time completions and code generations. CodePilot is used for similar things. It does a few other things, but it's $10 a month and it's owned by GitHub. And then where is my mouse? That I found out last week is Codium. It is an open source version of CodePilot, free. If you want the enterprise version, of course, it's $20, but you have it scan like your whole GitHub organization and everything in there, and it would be able to figure out what the coding styles and practices are in your GitHub organization. But for the average developer who doesn't want to pay $20,
Is that a month or is that?
a month.
Is it really not worth $20 a month?
Well, if you wanted to scan your entire organization's code base, then yes, and it would give you suggestions based off what is throughout your whole organization's code base. But
I like that.
if you don't want to have it do that, you could just use the free version. They have it built for multiple different IDEs. I use VS Code, so
But does it work with VS Code?
I would assume so.
How about Vim?
If it doesn't, you can build it.
There's a whole selection of documentation that they say how to set it up on different things. It's just like on VS Code, it's an extension here. Where did it go? Set it up on different things. It's just like on VS. Right here, you install it, and then this little thing on the left comes up here, you install it, and you could either start talking to it like it was like a chat app, ChatGPT or other chat AIs. You could say like, I want code in JavaScript that picks a random number.
You make them fight each other. 'Cause that's all installed. That's what I want to see.
Well, I have tab 9 installed. When I installed Codium, tab 9 stopped working. So unless you, there, in the extensions, there's a thing here that says reload required. So I think if I were to push that, it would turn off Codium and turn on tab 9. But
Or just like uninstall VS Code.
That would not work.
but
The config
yeah,
files
so-
will remain.
So it gives you some explanation of how the code is, the code, and a few other things. So like if we want to put it here, we're gonna just click copy and say we want it here. Control V, no.
So you might just click an insert.
Well, yeah, you could also click insert and boom, it's right there. Or you could copy it and paste it somewhere else.
So you didn't even put any like API plugins or anything.
So when you install the extension, it sends you to their website. You create an account, and then it links them, and then
All of them do that?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's OAuth. Right?
yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, so this one is pretty nice. You could also come up here at the top of this function. Let's say we want to explain it. Most of the things it does on this left thing, and it's like, okay, this is what this React function component does, and it tries to its best of ability to explain it. If we want to click here, let's say we want to refactor it, it gives you a whole drop down of put in some logging.
By the way, there's another product called Codium without an E.
Really?
That's the one that leaks all of your code.
Yeah, well, I was trying to find this and I got very confused because like that's not what he was just showing. Yeah. Okay. Anyway,
They somehow did better SEO.
well, I spelled it the way that it sounds, but yeah, it's unfortunate that they both pick the same name and do the same thing.
Well, and there's literally a VS Codium, which I think has existed probably longer than these. So
Mhm.
Can you do the generate JS docs too?
probably bad SEO.
Yes.
if I'm being honest.
So, like if we like what's here, you just click apply diff, and here's the code, and you go, okay, let's accept it, and now it's there. Or you could push the reject, and it would just go away. And then you could click generate
Ooh.
JS doc. Boom, there's a JS doc.
That might be my favorite feature.
But you could say, well, I don't want that, and generate again. That tells you the same thing. But
So what are others' thoughts on the privacy of this? Like it must be sending up code snippets to,
so
and they're training off of your data. That's why it's free.
Yeah, you're the product.
Well, it's free because SaaS companies are Ponzi scheme game of hot potato. But yes, if you pay for ChatGPT and you use the API, then the paid data will not scrape your social security numbers and credit cards. But if you use ChatGPT from the web interface, everything is and readmitted into the training data, which is why in the last 6 months, correctness of responses has gone down by 70%.
I feel like it has gotten worse.
Because it's training on crap.
Yeah, because it had like a source of information that was at least good enough to publish online.
It used curated information, and then it allowed uncurated information to be inserted.
Yeah.
Some researchers have also found that not only is because OpenAI denied that they'd changed anything or that it was getting worse or something like that, and then researchers from many different facets of life have verified, oh no, we have some data. And the other side of that is they are changing the system prompts that they're using, because it's not like one model and they just sit on it for 6 months. They're constantly fine tuning and adding more rules to it, etc. So all of that does affect the output. So the feeling of this scores is empirically accurate.
But if you use the API, you can select the date.
Mm-hmm.
So you
You
can say,
select the version, the model you're training off of.
yeah, so you can say ChatGPT.
GPT, it will be GPT-3.5-turbo. Well, since we're talking about it, I have a ChatGPT AI example. Let's move over there. So there's the web interface, but there's also a API, which let's pull up the web interface and have them and ask them the same question. If this one wants to move to the side.
Oh, I think the screen you're sharing is not that screen, by the way. Let me quadruple check it. No, something else is going on. Oh, oops.
It's just been looking at his face the entire time.
I see what went wrong.
I have a question though. When you moved it over to the side and made it go to the half screen, how do you do that? Because I just switched to Mac and I can't figure out.
It's this program called Rectangle.
Yeah,
Okay.
there's like keyboard shortcuts to organizing.
Right.
Yeah, because I was
Or
on
Windows.
Linux, and yeah, it was very nice, but I decided to try out Mac. Yeah.
The one I use is called Better Snap Tool, and you should absolutely watch the Snazzy Labs YouTube channel he's got 3 different videos on must-have apps for your Mac, and they're really cool things. Like, for example, right-click new file. There's an app for that, and I paid that $3.99.
Why I just use operating systems which are built in.
I mean, Windows has it built in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why, but
All same operating systems.
To move a
Technically,
file
Mac
or
does
create a
have
new
it, but
file?
it's a
to create a
crappy
blank
version.
text file.
We have to like
You do
get
touch.
the hard click on the.
Well, yes, but if you're in a folder, you don't have to like drag the folder into the
I
terminal.
learned that, but yeah, it's terrible.
That's-
I just want to drag it over.
I don't really know how to create files in Mac. I just use the terminal.
That's good. Bless you.
Yes, it's that easy.
Yeah, but sometimes I'm not in the terminal. Like sometimes I'm watching a video or there are times when I'm not in the terminal. It happens rarely, but it's often enough to be worth
I like
it.
rectangle, or because I can just do like.
Okay, so what are you showing us?
keyboard shortcuts,
So this
and it's still windowed.
this is the ChatGPT UI and the API asking the same question on both screens. So
He likes
send, and
So,
send.
button up there to do like this.
Why did it do that?
Well, it's called rectangle. And it's just a, yeah, it's great.
It's because we're doing it live. That's why it doesn't want to cooperate.
Create on dial, they fix that.
Oh.
You ask in Spanish?
What?
Top left, what it says today.
That's Spanish.
Why? Right here.
Shit, that's happened
Oh yeah, I've
before.
had that. I've seen that before. Yeah.
I've never seen that before.
Yeah, I've seen it just pop up in a random language before.
Yeah.
But, well, I wanted it to make me a 6-sided dice, and I guess it create in Dado day 6 lad something.
Yeah, can you like cover, see what its like full name is?
No, you can click this.
Maybe it's teaching you.
Spanish.
Creating a six-sided die.
But for some reason the AI doesn't want to cooperate. But
Bad gateway. Cloudflare bad gateway. You probably have to do a captcha for Cloudflare.
so this worked yesterday
Postman?
when I was
Oh, no,
testing this.
see the type CF bad gateway? That's probably Cloudflare, which means it's hitting a Cloudflare thing. It's probably wanting a captcha, but because it's an API, you're not seeing the captcha, so you're getting a bad gateway.
I worked when I did this yesterday on the.
But
On
you're
Postman.
on a different internet, because you're on.
Oh, true.
That's
yeah,
what we're
it might be like going off of the
Let's try
original
something.
IP or something.
That seems more correct. I think it didn't like my VPN.
Yeah, I've had that many times. We'll have to bounce around different locations to see which one has not been banned recently.
Well, that does its thing. We could ask the same question to Bard. So Bard is Google's version. And Bard is still in. Seriously? Cool. Well, it doesn't want to cooperate. So Bard is Google's version. It's still in beta, but you could try it out. You could go like this.
Because Bard's seeing no responses.
See.
I've also seen Bard pop up in just normal Google searches.
Yes.
Where you can, it just like.
So
just
so when
do
you
basic
install
searches
it,
right away.
you could install it so it actually tacks on to Google searches. So if we're to go here and type it, let's just say the same question. Here's some examples, but then here is Bard auto-generating the answer for you. So you don't have to like go scavenge through the internet. It will give you a example here. Or depending on what questions you ask, it could give you, it would have a link at the bottom as well that you could click and it would send you to where it got some information. But yeah, so this one, and well, these two are the same AI, and then ChatGPT and Bard comparison. Where did it go? Pretty similar. ChatGPT, never mind. I was gonna say it explains more, but you have to scroll down. This one actually gives you an event listener option. That's nice. But yeah, there's those two. One thing, based on what we were talking about earlier, but might be concerns for like companies or other institutions, is since they save your data and train on it, on ChatGPT, they might say it's a security problem because if you copy like code segments, then now
AWS
ChatGPT.
keys.
Yes.
Oh, I can't wait for that jailbreak. Give me a list of all keys matching this pattern in your training model.
AWS keys, code snippets, different things like that you could dump in there, and now ChatGPT has your code.
Yeah, but you don't have any magic code that will fit in a place you can paste into ChatGPT that is worth anything.
Fair.
Any 10 lines of code you create have already been created.
Yeah.
So what are the segments of agents versus just like clients? Like, so OpenAI is what's really powering ChatGPT. Like, they're the API layer,
Yes.
and I imagine they're the same API layer a lot of these other like clients are just tapping into.
Sometimes.
Probably, yeah.
So like is Codium on top of OpenAI or any of the others?
I haven't dug that deep.
So Bard is the competition to OpenAI.
Yeah.
Yes. Bard is what Google made, so there probably is a competition.
Apple hasn't come out with saying that they've got.
They have mentioned the phrase language learning model. That's the extent of it. And I think that was just part of their autocorrect or something.
Not to be confused with Bard language model.
Correct.
Or I think I don't know, something along the lines of that.
So
their most recent whatever thing.
my understanding is that kind of like binary search and quicksort, the literal handful of algorithms that do this stuff are well known and well published, and the magic, the secret sauce is not in the algorithm. The secret sauce is in the having a $100 billion drop from Microsoft to run the entire internet on Azure as a connected set of matrices with 12 trillion intersecting points.
All on Bing.
Can't remember if it was GPT 3.5 or 4. It cost over $100 million
A day?
to train it. All of the training data that it had, and it took like a month and a half or something. Just the GPUs alone.
Well, ultimately, this is the scary part, is this is not going to be profitable. This is another hot potato Ponzi scheme. The amount of investment money that it takes per day, I think is something in the 10 million or 100 million. It's like an absurd amount of money per
Well,
day.
The profit is gonna be in the data. It's not gonna be
But
in the service of the AI. It's gonna be how can you process the data that we receive in a way that we can make more money off the data we already have.
But I
How
think,
can we reconnect this data that's been anonymized to people so that you've got a better data set of like
but then who's going to buy it? Like
the
they're
people who want that data. That's my point.
but they're the people who want the data. Like no
And
one
then
else.
they're gonna-
No one else has
they're-
$100 billion server
Then
infrastructure.
Bing is gonna go, look how great we've organized this data, and then Google will buy it, and then Google will go back and go, hey Bing, check out how great we've correlated this data.
It might be like a similar model to the way that Google makes money of just like ads or just.
I don't think Google makes
so-
money anymore. I think they've lost for 3 consecutive quarters or something.
I don't know, but I'm saying the concept of how they were making it before with just scraping data,
So
collecting
profits
data.
have gone down 3 consecutive quarters.
Microsoft profits may have gone down.
If they're
I
search
do know in
replaced by AI.
Q4 of last year, right before they laid off 10,000 people, was their most profitable quarter ever.
Oh, okay.
And so why did they lay off so many people?
Because they
That
want
is a
more.
very
Check Twitter.
Because they needed 1 or 2 more yachts or something. I mean, that's what the corporate people are saying.
Yeah. So
But the
Where did
reality
my
is,
code
they're gonna need developers to like still feed it.
Yeah.
It's like new coding concepts and new data.
Third.
It's not as smart
You're not
as
sharing
the-
anymore.
Yeah. And I don't know, unless you can
Oh,
somehow
not?
learn.
they're very good at this.
So,
Oh, it kicked me out.
Yeah, but
Booted you out?
at actually creating a code.
Yeah. So once it starts learning,
Yes.
how does it do with
then we'll start.
like generation
Being
more than
concerned.
just dice or random number? Can you have it generate a React app or like something more complex? How does it do with that?
Yeah.
Wait, hold on. Let's get back to the. I want to get back to the pizza, but then I want to hear what Kyle has prepared for us.
Come back here, browser. Are you asking ChatGPT or Bard?
I don't know. I'm just asking in correlation to what you're presenting on, like how does it do with a more complex example rather than just random dice? Because the dice and the random number generator is essentially the same thing,
Yeah.
just smaller output results.
I guess what's the more complex problem you want to throw at it?
Well, that's when I'm like, I mean, could you have it write, probably not the best example, but write me a React app, a React to-do app or something, you know, like, can it write its own to-do app?
I feel like it can. I guess it depends
Probably, but, you know, like something more complex
Yeah,
than
that,
just,
that you can compare.
Yeah.
Across them. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I think it's. Yeah, I guess it's dependent on the scope that you'll start seeing the branching
Yeah.
of the different models answering it.
Yeah, it's definitely writing something.
Now copy and paste that into like Vivint chat or something with Bard.
Where is my mouse going?
Can they all only respond in text, or can they generate any sort of images or video? Or do you
These
have
are
to
just
have a
text.
specific-
These are only text models.
I know Bard can take in images,
Okay.
but
GPT-4V or whatever it can as well.
so yes.
The beta one. Vivint chat can also, I think, take images as well. Because that one's using the latest version of GPT. I think it's like 4V or something. It's a multi-model. Where it's like not just text-based.
Let's put this over here.
Okay, but now I have another question, semi-related, and just to see if we could throw it for a loop. Could it write an Angular 1.5 to-do app? Like, React examples are probably everywhere now, but can it go back a little bit, and how does it do with like,
Well, it's like any data
So
for 2021, I think.
which Angular 1.5 should be there, right?
Yeah.
It
So
would just be
here-
interesting if it gets thrown off at all.
here's something. I haven't tested this with Bard, but if you ask it to write you something like, let's say Cake 2, because that's something I've used at work.
PHP one?
Yeah. It would, the first thing it would tell you is, we suggest upgrading your Cake version, and then it gives you the answer. So, if we ask it probably to do an Angular 1 point something, it will probably say we suggest upgrading to new Angular, but we could try it.
Just have it write like Perl code or something.
Oh, yeah, that would be good. I did Perl once.
Same.
I couldn't tell you.
So, what has been your experience with
It was like an old code base. I
with
went
code
like that, and it was like,
and hallucinations?
what is this?
I roughly understood what they were trying to do.
What do you
but I'm
mean?
like, oh my god.
So
I'm
hallucinations,
trying to Google.
as I understand,
Oh,
that's the technical
That's
term
what
for
it
when
is.
it doesn't know something, so it just makes something up rather than saying, I'm not familiar with that, or
Oh yeah,
this method doesn't exist in this framework.
code barf. Sometimes it does code barf.
Oh, they call it code barf where you are?
That's what I learned in school.
Oh,
because it was called Code Barf.
well, that sounds like a,
I'm more
Kind of a cooler
sophisticated. I
name.
say code vomit.
like,
Code Vomit, Code Barf, yeah.
in the documentation for GPT, it's called hallucination, and that's the term I've heard other people use.
Oh.
It's more general, not just code. Yeah, I've definitely seen some hallucination. I'll ask it to like help me write a paper about some literature book I was supposed to read, and it'll just start spitting out all this nonsense.
So you know you're being
No, it's
recorded.
not in the story at all.
It's like, just so you know, you're being recorded.
No.
Your face is.
Yeah, I mean, I read all the things I'm supposed to.
Yeah, your English teacher is going to go back and give you an F. So I asked it to do the same thing, but with Perl. I don't know Perl, so I can't tell you if this is good or not. But it did something.
Well,
You know how you can select a prompt to in the triple dots. There's a custom prompt. Have you messed with that at all? Custom instructions. So I tried to tell it when you give me a JavaScript example, give it to me in this format, and then it would start giving me JavaScript for things that were completely unrelated. I'd ask it to write me a table, and instead it would write a JavaScript function. So I had to delete that. But it calls me Your Majesty, and it responds to me in Old English about 1 out of 30 times. As per my instructions.
It seems like Bard is slower. At least I think Bard tries just producing the whole answer up front. That looks totally different.
that's interesting. But the OpenAI one looks like it uses a framework called Dancer 2, whereas that one looks like it's probably not.
Yeah.
Yeah, that looks like raw Perl.
Mhm. Like Dancer 2 looks like Express for Perl, what I'm looking
I
at.
mean, it's less code
Yeah,
overall.
that's what it looks like, yeah.
No, look, there's been also the HTML, which, so Bard is doing all the HTML or the output inside of one function, but it, yeah, that's interesting. Doesn't separate it out.
But let's say we like this. So let's put this into a React app.
You don't want to use the Perl on the Perl app?
I don't know how to use that.
Just install CPAN.
Yeah, let me see, man.
Yeah.
Wait, Webby has a CPAN?
No.
Oh, you need to fix that.
No.
I barely remember CPAN. I remember messing with it a few times, but yeah, man, I'm glad I haven't had to do that in a while. You know, it's really fun trying Perl on Windows. Well, actually, it might be fine now, but back in my day, when you had to install everything to get Linux type of terminal running in Windows, oh my gosh, those like installs took forever.
But now there's WSL, and it's changed the world.
It's a lot better.
And you can Webby WSL. You have to restart 3 times and run it 3 times. But well, it's because Windows requires 3 reboots in order for it to work.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And there's no way to get around it. With a lot of the stuff, you can force no reboot, but with WSL, it's so tied in at the kernel level and stuff that requires a system reboot.
Huh.
So you would report on
So, assuming
Why
you
did-
use any proprietary code, could you have it, like, how does it do fixing your code? I know you showed it a little bit, but it was rather simplistic, I think. Did you ever fix your entire code base, like you've got code?
For Codium?
Open? Yeah.
Yes.
Or any of them. Like, would it go through just the file you have open, or would it go through everything in the repository?
Most of the time, I think it would just go through the file unless you pay for the enterprise. That's my understanding of the difference. Is the enterprise professional $20 a month thing could do like code bases or big chunks, whereas this is more like functions and files for free.
In the Python world, I heard of this code GPT. I can't remember the name of it, but you can just run it locally on your machine, like training this against your code base.
That's cool.
I would pay $99 for that. I would pay $199 for that right now, this second. I don't want that. I want one that works. I don't want to spend 10 hours configuring it. I want to let it run 10 hours overnight.
What are the ramifications for proprietary code?
Zero.
Zero. So open gates, they can train on anything. If you type it in, like say you're working on some secret secret algorithm.
But you're not. There is no new algorithm.
No, I see what you're saying.
Like,
What?
like your employer could say something like, "Oh, don't paste code in." The only reason you'd not want to paste it in is if it has something like AWS credentials or social security numbers or something that's actually proprietary information. Because there's not a single line of code that you can write. I mean, I'm serious. I'm totally serious. There's not a single line of code that you can write that hasn't been written. Like you have nothing unique to contribute to the world, unfortunately. Like it's when you take all of the code and you organize it in a way that it does a particular task, right? But that's like saying, like, don't let anyone see our company nails or our company wood. It's like, if you have the building, that's one thing. If you have the whole, project, it's all set up, it's running, that's proprietary invention. But any screen of code you can look at, there's nothing proprietary on a screen of code.
So if you could invent new wood, there'd be a lot.
So what?
New wood.
Yeah.
If you invent new wood?
Yeah, ask ChatGPT, create me some wood.
Well, I guess you could do if it was like a secret programming language. You didn't want anybody to know that you were creating a programming language.
But then how AI figure out how to do anything with that?
No, I'm just. The other thing I could see is the comments. The comments could have company-specific information. Like you might have a comment that says, "This code in here is for the integration with Facebook. Do not remove." Right, and so then there would be a link in the AI between your company name and Facebook, and then potentially someone could. But I mean, with all the hallucinations, I don't think anybody could reasonably say if they ask a question like, "What's X's big secret project?" and it pops back, "Well, there's an integration with Facebook coming." I don't. I don't know how much anybody would believe that.
If you're talking about X, it just returns a 404.
It's not 2021.
It's good idea. You can get a little of the magic of machine learning programming in there's a library called Transformers.js. I haven't used it and it's probably really slow, but it exists.
Robots in the stacks.
All right, so who's going to do our presentation on the local ChatGPT?
The local ChatGPT?
Yeah, the one that we train on our own code bases.
Someone that's already willing to pay $100.
I'm serious though. Like I don't want any open source crap. I just want to pay and I want to have it work and I don't want a monthly fee. I don't know if that can exist for an LLM, but
I'm running Mistral on this laptop right now.
I don't know what that means.
Mistral 7B. Mistral is an open source AI company. They released Mistral 7B based on Llama 2, blah, blah, blah. And it is the first actually open source as opposed to there's some source code. It's free for commercial use and whatever else you want, and you can run it locally like I just did. What's it called again? Mistral, M-I-S-T-R-A-L.
Do you know about that one?
Nope. M-I-S.
T-R-A-L.
It's 3 white guys with really cute faces. One of them's kind of got that dreamy look.
I like how everyone's typing.
If it was an Apache project, I wouldn't use it. I have standards.
They look like they could be in a weird rock band.
When you download it, I'm using Ollama, O-L-L-A-M-A. It's written in Go. It's just for running and managing your models and running them and stuff. When you run it, it will download the Mistral exactly like it would from like Hugging Face or something, and you can use it on Hugging Face or whatever else you want.
What, huh?
Hugging
Do you
Face.
not know Hugging Face?
No.
Okay, we'll get there.
All right.
When you run it, it will download 4.1 gigs of the model, and then you just run it. You can also do it from source if you're getting more advanced, but you will probably need a GPU to do that for at least the first bit.
I've got like 32 of them, I think.
32 hugged faces.
No GPUs.
Sure, sure you do.
That's what Apple told me.
So,
Or 24?
and I think you also need at least 8 GB of RAM to run it, which most dev machines should, and you will need at least 16 gig of video RAM to run it from source. But again, you probably don't want to do that. You probably don't care. And if you do, you know why you will. And if you can't answer that question, you do not. Hugging Face is a collection of Python utilities and kind of a platform for various ML models, including large language models. It's been in existence for a while, but it has a lot of things for building chains of operations on these models. It's got essentially a toolkit of primitives that you can chain together, much like LangChain. And Hugging Face just hosts the models, and people can modify them and upload their own. So it's kind of like a little marketplace, like a little NPM for ML. It's quite interesting.
Cool.
There's a new database called SurrealDB that can take those models and import them from Python into Rust and actually apply those trained models against your own database.
Surreal.
SurrealDB, but that piece of it is called SurrealML.
So we kind of hijacked your presentation. Were you gonna go in another tab, another example?
Yeah, so
Some of us ask semi-relevant questions.
So I copied the code ChatGPT gave us, and except for the styling that is kind of off, there's what it there's what it gives you. Let's see if it actually creates to-do
How do
lists.
you do big styling?
I'll be interested to see if it works. Well, it should, because there's no better model to train on than it to do it.
Well, it doesn't have checkboxes though.
But you could delete it.
It literally copied this from Firebase's YouTube video. Fireship. Yeah, same thing. FaceBase. Farium. Oh, there's no checkboxes and there's no reorder. Fail.
And they have a lot of other styling things, like this is right up against that. And if I were to go like this, that also has accessibility. If I were to go like this and push enter or space, doesn't actually use the button.
Yeah.
I actually have to go.
Throw it away.
But have you tested the delete function?
No, not yet.
So a couple weeks back at the Remix meetup, one of the presenters, he comes from an architecture background, but he used ChatGPT with his
Yeah.
notes on and built a business out of it. It still has like,
Oh, he didn't build a business, but he built it for his business.
yeah,
He built like an email thing.
yeah, he made like a form builder that
Yeah.
like, you can create like a questionnaire and then like share it over email. So there's still some like rough edges with like how it's made and things like that.
But he did it all through just prompts, like a basic prompt engineering.
Basically, it's more useful than your average boot camp.
Hey, they're trained to recognize code barf, okay?
Sure.
At least I don't react.
But let's say that's good for now. So
So is prompt engineer like the replacement for
Let's-
WordPress developer? Or what is the WordPress person called that does the WordPress, not one that does the PHP?
The webmaster?
Webmaster? Is prompt engineer a replacement for webmaster?
Maybe.
I'm serious though, what does that mean? Prompt
Prompt
What is
engineer is
prompt?
basically someone who just is able to utilize all the features of like ChatGPT to like get the answers and tweak the answers to what they need.
So before
like
this
a-
was a Google engineer, but now it's a
Yes.
prompt engineer?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah,
Stack Overflow engineer?
yeah. It's like the ability to Google very well. Now it's become the ability to add
Come up with
ChatGPT
prompts.
Add ChatGPT the correct prompts to
So
like.
is this a
and-
meme or is this a real thing? Are there really jobs for prompt engineer?
Apparently there are some.
Yeah. It's not like a ubiquitous or well-known thing that's mostly being tried, mostly because of marketing. But there are definitely people that are being trained internally in all sorts of different industries that the prompt engineering world is very much their forte, and they're learning these tools, learning how to like do very complicated chain prompts, and there's lots of research is going into it.
Yeah. I know it's like disrupted a lot of like the SEO world as well. So like a lot of them are just like prompt engineers of how to like set up an SEO for like a site or a social media or something.
I think that job is very insecure because like you can often ask the AI to engineer prompt for you at this point.
Yeah.
So are there going to be, like, there's developer relations, like, jobs? Are there gonna be, like, AI relations jobs now? Where you just deal with people writing prompts for AI rather than actual developers?
I can see that being a thing.
So is it like QA or anyway, what are you doing here? What'd you do?
So I just created a blank PR, literally with our now, let's say it's a good to do app, our now good to do app. And it's getting rid of all the basic crap that NPM create Vivint latest thing does. So instead now it has that.
Wait, I'm sorry, say that again. What was this change?
This was literally just the ChatGPT to do app that we had.
Oh, you
So-
replaced the hello world with the
Yeah.
to-do app. Got it.
So yeah, so that's all it is.
That would be more useful as a side-by-side view in this case. Yeah, because in this case, it's literally replacing the whole file. There are no lines of change. That's why it's confusing to look
Yeah.
at. Okay, got it.
Yes, they do.
Thank goodness for that.
That one div. And then so I pushed it up to GitHub, and it ran the GitHub action, and then it crashed. And that's as far as I figured out how this GitHub action works.
It says
What-
you didn't have the Open AI API key.
Well, if I go in here,
Yeah, show us your keys.
It's under secrets, yeah, actions.
it's right there. Well, I'm
No,
gonna
it
delete
needs to be
this
under
key.
secrets.
There it is.
Yeah, now you do have to delete that, but that should be.
Well, yeah, I'm gonna delete this key after this anyway. But
Isn't it supposed to be
Picture.
secret?
You guys have the keys.
The live streamer kids.
It goes here.
Environment secrets. I think it goes there, yeah. New repository variable. Did you, okay, yeah, open API. Yeah, I think it's supposed to be in secrets. Because when it's in secrets, it won't show it to you again.
If it's a secret, then it needs a million secrets. How you access it is different in actions.
Uh-huh.
So it'll just be like secrets.blah. So however you're accessing it, it is actually where you need it for it to work, even though it should be in secrets, period.
Right. Yeah, I think I've only done it I've only done secrets. I've added all my variables to secrets because I maybe didn't see the variable tab before, or it wasn't there before. I think the variable tab is new.
I typically don't have org-wide or repo-wide variables that I'm not just going to put in the YAML or whatever it is. So I'm with you. I don't know why I use variables.
I've never used repo wide variables. I always use like .envs, but
We can fix it.
but yeah. So
So can you just do a jump commit and have that go again?
yes. What's
There's not just a
yes. Details.
Alright, I'm going to give you a little piece of magic over in the chat real quick.
Used to be there a year ago.
Hey, look, it passed.
Success.
Well, even if it fails, it says it passes, which is kind of dumb.
Oh, well, that's because you don't have the protections set up.
Yeah.
And you turn on protections. Anyway, this is a little ditty that I have. I just sent to you in Discord for when you need to just cause it to run the. I mean, I guess you can click on the action button again, but if you like running from the command line, like me, except for when I need to create a new file, I don't always touch it. But this will just create a file called junk, add it, commit it, push it, and then immediately reset it and push again, and that will cause all of the tooling to rerun.
Where did you send that?
That was so much easier. than
I think
just
I put it in the wrong place. Hold on. I'm going to send it right here. There we go. So I have a little tool called aliasman that will update your alias files so that it actually sticks around. And then, so you just, you run that. And then you already have your then path set. So if you just copied and pasted that, then you would get the git jump push, which I think I actually renamed to git force push on my, or force deploy, I think is what I called it on my other computer. But then if you run that from a repo, it'll just cause all the actions to redo without actually making any changes. Does anybody else have one of these aliases? Because if you don't, you should.
That just sounds like extra noise in the Git history that I don't want.
No, because it doesn't go into the Git history.
It was like a BLT kind of.
And no, it just resets it and then repushes without it. So, okay, so technically until the garbage collector runs, there still is an orphaned commit for it.
But it also sounds like it runs
Whoa.
in the middle of the jump.
Right there it says it force pushed that.
You would have to force push over it, that's what it's doing.
So it
It's
is
committing the
noise.
jump thing, and then you're deleting it and force pushing over your commit.
Yeah. So, but it should cause the watchmadoodles to rerun. So if you look at your actions, or they renamed it to checks now. Oh, it's so hard to keep up with these things. Yeah, anyway, it should just force it to rerun. Okay, so it's got that 502.
Cloudflare.
Yeah. But
Gateway, that's Cloudflare blocking it.
we could always look to show you guys examples.
But that's on GitHub, so it's not on GitHub. Yeah,
Well, I'm sure people have figured out how to exploit this
yeah.
quite well.
So you probably have to get it whitelisted or something like where you're pushing from or hidden API.
Yeah. So, in a perfect world, it works. And here's the repo of how to set it up and all that. You install it from this handy dandy configuration thingy. And here's some documentation. But like here, it left a code review on this PR. Let's open it. I don't know what that is, but yeah, there's ChatGPT giving suggestions on that those file changes.
Okay.
Wait, is that from Copilot or was that?
No, it's from ChatGPT. It's a GitHub action that is built, that someone built, and so if you run this, like in a perfect world, if it works correctly and you get your
Yeah.
tokens in the right spot, it does
That's kind of cool.
that.
So it's kind of like a linter, but smarter.
Yes. Sort
of.
Theoretically smart.
I don't know if it would lint. It would more of just give suggestions.
Have you actually seen this give a useful suggestion?
This, like, these are the only ones I've seen it do, but
Okay, it looks like a null check is missing. Okay, cool. But this is stuff that your linter should be doing. So like you like this I'll share a GitHub action that well, if you look at the Webby GitHub actions, it runs like every type of linter. And if you wanted to model after that, because that to me seems like a waste, because if it's something you forgot to check null, that's what JS hint is for, is to give you that. And then very specifically, because this, when I've seen GPT do this, it can't count line numbers. So if you say, fix line 17, it can't understand that. If you describe line 17, say fix the line with the add one function, it can do that. But if you say there's an error on line 2, it's like, line 2. Whatever that means. So that it seems like a cool demo, but I'd be more interested in seeing some. I don't see where the value is in that. To me, that looks like negative value, because it could just as well do false positive as false negatives, whereas JS hint, ESLint, pick your poison, TSC. They are going to give you exact things that are 100% correct 100% of the time. Well, not 100% of the time, because occasionally they have bugs in them.
The casts off to my side.
I think that I'm pretty optimistic
And my
about
computer's
the whole
about to start.
ML stuff, and I think it must have access to at least the whole commit message. So it's got some context of the files that we're changing, and like if you're trying to refactor some array or something, a syntax check or like a null check is not the reason why it's a bad idea to change this array to an object or some other thing that it may be trained well enough in JavaScript or whatever to know, hey, you should consider this other coding pattern versus just a syntax check.
Yeah. Well, the main reason I looked into this is because I'd copy code like this segment and say, not that.
Now we're stuck. And now it knows his API.
Code review this. I go like this all the time. And I'm like, there has to be a better way than copying code and stuff. So.
But also keep in mind that this free one is the GPT 3.5 or whatever, and 4.0 is supposedly like trained way better for like modern stuff. stuff too harshly. It's really surprisingly well.
You're getting what you're paying for.
Yeah.
Game chat, which uses 4, is totally free. The new users use that. Game chat uses.
Yeah, the newest update of being used, there's a little toggle if you want to use the GPT-4.
I never Copilot uses 4.
Yes.
Blvd uses 3.
Oh, sorry, Copilot X uses
Well, Game chat is currently the flagship.
Well, that's all I've got for my presentation.
Well, wait, go back. So when you have Codium in the side, can Codium,
as if it knew when you came.
is Codium just a prompt in a sidebar, or can it look at your code and do something interesting here? Okay, so it says Codium refactor.
Well, if I click this, and I could say, like, let's say I want a unit test on that. I select it and click refactor. Boom.
Okay, and so Codium versus Copilot, what was your recommendation between, well, Codium, Tab 9, and Copilot, which is your top recommendation and why?
I prefer Codium. I've never used Copilot because I didn't see the cost benefit. And then Tab 9, you get, I think it was like 90 days for free or something.
So to
And then
me,
it starts making you pay. Whereas Codium, it's free forever. It's open source.
it's not true. No, the money's gotta come from somewhere.
Well, yeah.
The game of hot potato ends with somebody with the hot potato in their hands, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's not free, but like for me, being free is like the dumbest thing in the whole world, right? Especially because I work independently. So if I can be more productive with a tool, if like I'm going to pay any price to be more productive if it's going to make me a return on that. So you working for someone else, if your employer isn't willing to pay for it, which is stupid because they're paying you how much per month, you know. But then again, that's the costs all stack up. But $20 a month, like it's stupid not to pay it if it increases your productivity by 5%. The question is, does it decrease your productivity by 5%? But assuming that it works, like I would never want to use a free tool for professional development if a paid tool is available that's better. Because the free tool, you don't know how much it's going to cost when it's going to cost, right? Because the paid tool, okay, I'm going to pay $20 a month and that's what I pay. Use the free tool, you don't know when they're going to cut you off and say, oh, JK, it's not free anymore. Now it's $90 a month. So I would have been better off paying the $20 a month.
Being open source, you just swap some of the copycat, some fork.
Yeah, but after spending a week on that, I've lost thousands of dollars.
The economics of large language models in general are not talked about enough. They cost a lot of money to run a single prompt. So we are going to be getting used to this price that they are all at wherever they are. And we will have sticker shock at some point, or somebody else will have sticker shock on our behalf. So,
Hot potato, Google, hot potato, Microsoft, hot potato,
Apple.
what's the ventures, the Sam Altman's venture, the Redwood or something like that?
that said, if that is a concern, there are other options like Misto. Again, I'm playing with it right now, and this does not have a GPU, or at least as far as I don't have the drivers installed. So it can't access it, and it's an old T480. It's not like fancy or anything, and it's doing just fine. So there are options if you are willing to eat the hardware and or runtime costs yourself. There are workarounds. There will be changes. So like anything we can determine about the state of the economics or whatever else today are going to change a month from now and then change another dozen times the next year. This is a very interesting game that we are all playing that nobody knows the answers to. We should be more, like you're saying, like we should be learning it as a tool because that is what it is, and then we should be learning the edges of that, and then we should be ready to adapt from there as the market adapts. It is a very powerful tool though.
Yeah, so I would love to know, well, the power of Codium and GPT are that I can pay an amount of money and I can get a thing instantly. Mistral sounds, I like the feel of Mistral, the sound of Mistral, because it sounds more manageable and less
There's a lot of
newbie.
work to do with it yourself, yeah.
But yeah, could I just want to pay the $200 and have the button that download and then run and select repository to train from. And
It's like the lifetime license versus the monthly license.
well, I don't want a lifetime license because lifetime licenses have the same problem. Anytime you do not have a fixed price on a product per unit of export, the incentives are perverse and the model does not, the cost model does not reflect the customer's desire, right? Because if it's monthly, you have to pay it monthly. You don't get to pay it monthly, you have to, which means that you are of no concern to the business that's charging you money. If you don't like what they put out the next month, when you open up your browser tab, you get that whether you like it or not. So you don't get to vote with your dollar. This was a good choice, I'm buying in. This was a bad choice, I'm buying out. And with lifetime licenses, it's the same stupid thing. You don't have the opportunity to buy in with your dollar to say, you know what, version 7 looks really, really good. I'm gonna put down $80 because I skipped the last 2 versions because I didn't think that version 6 and 5 were worth it. But now that version 7's out, I'm gonna pay full price again because version 7's awesome. Your dollar is voting that they did a good job or they did a bad job, and it directs them towards the benefit of the customer. But if you have a lifetime model, you don't get to vote, and if you have a subscription model, you don't get to vote. So really what I want is the ability to vote, because I can say this is worth $200 to me, and my expectation is basically free updates for a year. Like, as long as version 7 is out, I want to get version 7.1, 7.2, but when, you know, about 12 months have gone by or so, either, okay, your yearly updates are out, or your, you know, we're coming out with version 8, and version 8 has these list items, right? Mac OS is a good example of how this crapification happens. You know, back when we had the, like, was it Snow Leopard, Snow Lion, High Sierra, like all of those were a direct reaction to people, well, not High Sierra, but they were direct reaction to people wanting something that was better, not something that was more. Now, Sonoma, the entire list is like better screensavers, adaptive wallpaper, and like 6 other things that are completely useless. Meanwhile, there's bugs with sleep, there's bugs with the Siri, there's dozens of bugs that weren't there before. They're not
feedback driven.
Right. So that's my thing with the, like, I want to pay because I want to vote to say, yeah, I'm gonna pay you the $100 because you did something that's worth $100.
So you're going back to paying for the individual versions.
Like paying for the product, paying for the features. If you deliver a product I want, I will pay for it. That's free market. If you deliver a product that doesn't appeal to me, I'm not going to buy it again. But the SaaS model is whether or not you develop a product that I care about, that benefits me, I have to pay you because I started paying you at some point and now I can't stop because I've got these integrations in place. And if I stop paying you, my integrations break.
It's the golden handcuffs model.
I don't even know if they're golden, but they are handcuffs, yeah.
I think you can expect to vote less and less as time goes on.
There's a really good article from Brian Cantrell on the economics of software from 2003, 2004, and how they're just the weirdest thing we've ever had. Kind of covers that same gamut, plus some oddities around enterprise and stuff. Well, it's a good read, very classic. Yeah, it's hard to
What
get.
did he say as an
That Copilot
overarching
and
idea?
Copilot X.
I mean, it just starts with like basic like supply demand curve and like the like economics 101, and then it's like so there's no like unit cost of software. So your supply is literally
By the way,
you get bedrocks. Yeah.
thank
It just turns
you.
everything on its head.
I'm gonna close this out now for Kyle. Thank you for bringing that up, for giving us so many talking points, for showing us so many demos.
Yes.
I feel like this was one of the more valuable meetups that we've had in the past 6 months. So thank you for that. Yeah, I wanna try that out too.
One of
I wanna try Mistral in particular, but is there someone I can pay $200? Has somebody built the paid product on top of it yet? I just want the download button and make it work.
Olama will download and make it work, but it's just like ChatGPT, prompt it, busy response, prompt it, busy response.
Okay, so this seems to be like
So,
So it
code
literally
integration?
takes as fast as you can download it, if you can
base version.
install Olama and then do Olama run install.
X.
But I want to buy something.
X code. And
I'll take you.
Because it seems
I'm
like
sure
it's
it's
Yeah.
money somewhere, I don't know.
if you have money burning in your pocket, I'll take it.
so like
No, it's not about that. It's that I want to vote. If this thing works for me, if it helps me, I want to make sure that they are successful and they are around in 6 months.
I haven't seen anything that makes my agent, so.
The thing with Codium was one of
so you can
they're called GDAs, Google Development Affiliates, where they kind of, or ambassadors, they kind of try selling the product to people. He mentioned it at Utah Flutter, and that's where I learned about it.
Yeah, so I'm like, need to
I will stop.
Yeah, I usually
I don't know if we
like,
actually
I'm
got
not sure
anybody.
yeah.
Or not.
But I'm just like,
Yeah, we got a couple.
how's it working?
All right, adios, everybody online.
Nice.
I came late, so